agent should be sending your script out and pushing your cause to the people who have new shows
Anyone
picked
who will
up.
listen.
Yeah,
Well,
to
that
anyone.
in the studios and at dinner parties
Absolutely.
and
That's right. But don't sit back and rely on that. You should be out there trying to do it as well, making your own contacts.
but you know, agents also, like, if you get a show picked up, your agent will then say, here's the 3 writers that I think you guys should read, and hopefully they have the right sensibility for your show. And then agents that you know personally because they're the agents of other people on the show, or they, you know, agents are constantly coming to tapings on Friday nights and Tuesday nights, and just kind of meeting you, and so that they have a relationship with you. So in theory, they can pitch their clients. You know, the word pimps comes to mind. But in a good way.
Well, I personally think college is always a good idea. I think you learn more about your world. You learn the context of, the literature that's out there that's been done on stage, and so. But on the other hand, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I think that.
But I think having those
Funny's
4
funny.
years, or in my case 6 years, to kind of hang out with people that are interested in what you're doing and kind of learn from them. You know, I don't know that I remember anything that I learned from my undergrad, but I ran a musical theater company that was student run, and that I remember every single show we did and every problem we had and all of that. So, in
But
grad
you
school
can get
we
that
met.
experience without college.
Yeah, I
so
guess so.
I think it depends on the individual, whether that's a good breeding ground for ideas for the future, or if just getting in and getting experience.
But you know, there's also a chance that you're not going to succeed, and maybe you should have a degree so that while you're spending the rest of your life trying, if you're passionate about it and you have to be an actor, you have to be a writer, it could take, you know, we know writers who are now unbelievably successful with shows that you know really well that took 20 years to get to the point where they sold that show. And in the meantime, they had jobs. And I think that, you know, a college degree is helpful in that respect.
We had casting sessions every day, and the casting director brings in people, and they read, and you listen to, person after person come in and do it, and you think, oh my God, I have no talent. I can't write. And then somebody comes in and you go, God, I'm a genius. Because you just wait until you find that person that makes it their own, that makes you laugh again at your material. And then you have to take them, get it approved at the studio level, and then you have to go into the network, which is pretty torturous.
Torturous, yeah.
Experience for everyone.
But ultimately, I think that a show succeeds or fails by whether or not you've made any mistakes in casting. And, you know, usually 2 or 3 weeks in, you either say, okay, there's where we went wrong, this isn't going to work, or there's no chemistry between these people, or in the case of The Nanny,
they were all brilliant.
every single one of those actors was brilliant. So we got lucky that you could, you know, when you have a cast like that, there are times when you're sitting there trying desperately to think of a joke or a moment, and, you know, you say, well, you know what, it's fine, Danny will make that work. So it's great to have a cast that you just know was fantastic.
If you're going to improvise and add something,
It better be good.
Yeah,
So
and
the
I
answer
would
to your
do
question
one,
is-
and that's all.
Yeah, the answer to your question is don't change a word unless you
Especially
do
in
it well.
comedy.
You know, don't do it. It's gonna and also don't walk in. The writer's often sitting there. Don't walk in and say, well, the script, you know, you'd think, well, who would be stupid enough to do this? But you'd be surprised. Don't walk in and say, you know, I didn't think the script scene was very good, so I rewrote it. I'm just going to do it my way. There's pretty much no chance you're going to get that job. And for the most part, you do want to hear the scene that you've written because you need to know whether or not to rewrite it or not. A lot of times coming out of an audition, you'll sort of feel like, you know, nobody made this work. The last thing the writer wants to admit is maybe the scene isn't any good. But it's an opportunity for the writers and the producers to hear the material. So come in and do the material unless you decide not to take my advice, and then you better be brilliant.
you know, the people who get away with it is if they have one joke they want to pitch. And that you can, you know, just slide in one thing. But for the most part, especially in comedy, really stick to the words as written because it's important.
Although I hear that Woody Harrelson went into his Cheers audition to be Woody and just kind of came in blowing his nose and just doing this whole, oh my God, and came in character and just convinced them to play the character and write the character in an entirely different direction from the way they were all thinking they wanted it to be. So that can happen, but, you know, there's only one Woody Harrelson out of the 10,000 people that are auditioning.